developing the other businesses in his portfolio. Everyone, please, large round of applause for Mr. Crawford Ker.
Here I go again on my own, going down the only road I've ever known.
Well, I appreciate being here. So I remember jumping around at an Anthony Robbins get-together a little while ago, so I don't know who created that, but we're going to go over a couple different things. So, you know, when I was young, I always worked hard. My dad and my mom were immigrants from Scotland, and we didn't have a lot. You know, we worked really hard. I would say we're middle class, maybe a little bit less than middle class. But it was very important to me to be a success. So, you know, I went and played football when I was a little kid in a Catholic school in Dunedin. So that's how you say it, Dunedin, Florida. And I was pretty good, not bad. I was one of the better little kids playing 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. My dad had a lawn business at the time, so when I went into high school, I never played football. So I just worked with my dad through 9th, 10th, 11th grade years, and I wanted to be a basketball player, so I had the ankle weights, and I'm jumping, and I'm doing all this stuff. And I wanted to be the first 9th grader to be able to dunk a basketball. So I was out there for hours and doing all that. And I tried out for basketball, and I got cut. So I didn't make the team, so I read the register, and I wasn't one of the top 15. I'm like, man, I really wanted to do that, so I started lifting weights. So then my new passion was just weightlifting. So I started lifting weights, and man, I got that OCD, and I'm working out with the Kmart weights in the garage all day. And then I wanted to be like the next Arnold Schwarzenegger. So all these guys are about this tall, and I was 6'3". And I would come in there, and I forgot you have to wear those little bikini pants. So I was all white from here down when I went and posed, so I didn't really do too good at that. I didn't make the finals. So I was going on my senior year in high school, and the coach said that if I made the team, they could probably get me a scholarship. So I hadn't played football in 4 years. I went out there and made the team, and it was the first time the high school made a championship. But my grades weren't good. I mean, I think I had an SAT of 700, 2.5 grade point average. So you can't go anywhere. So I played that 1 year of high school football. I decided to go work. You know, I was a waiter, being big, lifting weights. I was a bouncer. I did all these different jobs, and I thought, man, I don't want to do this the rest of my life. So the negative of just doing that propelled me to go to college. So I said, a friend of mine said, listen, if you call this coach, maybe we'll give you a scholarship. So the coach never even met me, never saw no film, no nothing. I did the salesmanship over the phone. And I said, this is Crawford Ker. I'm 6'4". I weigh 250 pounds, and I could bench press 400 pounds. What could you do for me? He says, if you get a one-way plane ticket out here and you make my team, we'll give you a scholarship. So my dad, not having much money, gave me a one-way plane ticket to college that I never even seen out in Arizona. Now, not Arizona State, not University of Arizona, Arizona Western. It's in Yuma, Arizona. And it's 30 miles from the town, and the average temperature is 118 during the summer. And all the kids from Florida quit. They hate it. Because number one, we don't have a car. We're away from our families. We're 18 years old, and you're stuck in a dorm room all the time. So it was the best experience of my life because it taught me to do without and focus on your goal. So my goal was not to waste time. My goal is a freshman was to go pro. So I'm like, I'm not wasting time out here in 118-degree weather if I'm not going to go pro. So I went out there, and all these kids were better than me because, remember, I only played 1 year of high school, and then I sat out a year, and these kids were groomed for the last 8, 9 years in football. So I was very raw, very behind, but I kept working, very aggressive and very determined. So I went out there and I wanted to quit, but I had nothing to come back to. If I came back, I was going to be a waiter. I was going to do this. I had to do construction. I'll be a plumber, whatever. And all those are great industries, but I didn't want no part of that. So I had to stay. So I stayed, and I became an All-American. I was a top guy out of Arizona drafted. So now all these big schools want you. So how many Miami Hurricane fans do we have? Oh. How many Florida State Seminole fans? All right, okay, you go. How about Gator fans? All right, a couple of them. So the University of Florida gave me a full ride. I went up there, and I wanted to do something different. So when I went up there, I felt that I had to set some kind of precedent, some kind of record. So when I went up there, I set the strongest records at the University of Florida. So I bench pressed 530 pounds, and I leg pressed 1,400 pounds. So next thing you know, they're telling me I'm the strongest guy in college football, in the whole college football. So that propelled us. We had a great Gator team. We were 9-1. I think we lost 2 games in 2 years. Next thing you know, I'm in Dallas. And then I'm meeting Ed Too Tall Jones, and I'm meeting Randy White and Emmett Smith and Troy Aikman and Lawrence Taylor. Next thing you know, I'm playing pro ball. And it was a great ride. So I played pro ball in Dallas and Denver. Then I came out, and I was making about $750,000 a year as a football player to making 0. So then I had to reinvent, okay? So I reinvented, really didn't know what to do. Everyone tells you, don't do this, don't do that, right? So they always tell you what not to do, but they don't tell you what to get into. You got to figure that out for yourself. So I got about 10 key things that helped me. So to make a long story short, I found a restaurant with a partner, bought the partner out. We were losing $20,000, $30,000 a month. Bought him out and got busy. Put the same effort as I did in football into the restaurant business, and I built it from 1 and sold it recently for over $60 million. From 1. And no background in the restaurant business. I was a football player. There you go. There you go. So basically, I did what you guys are going to have to do. You learn on the fly. You learn by making mistakes. You learn by getting into things. You learn by getting out of it. It's no foolproof way to do business. Okay? So I got to hit this little button up here, and I'll get my top 10. So let me see where that button is. Do we have the top 10? Oh, it's on the big screen. Okay. All right, here we go, the top 10. Not on that screen. Okay, so I got to go over there. Okay, driven. So the most important thing is you got to have drive. Like when I went out to Arizona, I had a plan. I was going to stick it out. Okay, no matter what. My goal was to become an All-American. I achieved that goal. But without being driven and doing whatever it takes, it's very, very difficult to make it in any business. Sometimes in business, you got to let go of friends. Sometimes you have partnerships, and you got to get out of the partnership. You have to do what is number one right for the business. The business is an entity. It's even more important than the people running it. It's almost like a God. I believe in keeping it simple. I believe in duplicating things. I believe in once you get something, you do it over and over. It's called repetition. If you could do something 200 times, 200,000 times, you could master it. It was like I did in weightlifting. How many bench presses did I have to do till I got to 530 pounds? Over 10,000. So if anyone in this room did 10,000, you would have a bench press of X2. But it's repetition. You have to do it all the time. And you got to keep it really simple, because if you want to build an empire, you got to not be here, you got to teach here. So always think that you're teaching third graders, not, PhDs, third graders. If you could teach a third grader, the PhDs should be able to get it. So you got to be really, really they have a saying, keep it dumb and stupid. Subway, just put it like this. Just go assembly line. Just do it simple, okay? Number 3 is one thing I've had is I'm always naturally inquisitive. Hey, what do you do? Really? How much does that pay? Oh, really? How do you get to be where you're at? Did you go to college? What was your degree? Oh, what does your friends do? Oh, tell me about your background. How about your family? Where did you come from? Have you ever been hungry? Were you rich? Were you poor? So I was always naturally inquisitive, because I call that applied learning. I learn things and then I apply them. So you could learn any industry you want, but you got to have those basic inquisitives. What's this? What's that? I might know the answer. I'm still going to ask the question, because I want to see if they know the answer, or if their answer is better than my answer. Because if their answer is better than my answer, I'm going to adopt their answer. So I'm stealing information all the time. That's how I learn. I call it applied learning. I think a lot of people hear things. I think a lot of people don't apply them. So it's applied learning. Reading. You want to be a leader, be a reader. You want to be a leader, be a reader. What's a reader? Reader is books out there that high ego people like me have, that we say, here's your blueprint. So read it and they'll tell you all the mistakes they made so you don't make them. The best book is the Bible. I believe in our Lord Jesus Christ. I'm Catholic. I believe through him all things are possible. Not through me anything's possible, through him. So I believe if you're blessed and you're destined to do what you need to do, you could do it. But you need to be a reader. Another good book is Stop Worrying and Start Living by Dale Carnegie. Another good book is Good to Great, How to Build a Company. Those are very good. Another book is Outliners. It's about people that are overachievers. Modeling, very few originators. So an originator is like Steve Jobs. I think the new one now is Elon Musk is an originator. He's like 20 years ahead of people. I don't see a lot of them. I see a lot of copiers. I see a lot of people that duplicate. That's what I do. I'm not an originator, I'm a duplicator. I want to find someone and I want to learn that and then take it and make it better. That's what I do. If this is a beautiful classroom with smart people in here, maybe there are a few originators. Maybe like less than 1%. So most of us are duplicators. We duplicate things. We take other people's ideas. Even Bill Gates from IBM and all that stuff. They took ideas, then they made their own model. So it's very few innovators. It's a lot of modelers. Developing teaching team. Okay, so I learned that in football. I learned that you needed Troy Aikman as quarterback. You need Emmitt Smith to run. I was a blocker, so I didn't worry about what they were doing. I worried about what I did. I had Reggie White on me. I had to worry about me. I didn't worry about what they were doing. So I cut out all the noise. I worried about me. That's called focus. You got to focus. I didn't worry who's running the ball, who's catching the ball, who's tackling. I could care less. I was worried about what I had to do. So you really have to have focus, but you have to have a good team. The Dallas Cowboys won all them Super Bowls because they had a good team. They had Michael Irvin, they had Emmitt Smith, they had Troy Aikman, they had Charles Haley. They had a good team. You will not win without a team. You have to have a team. If you want to do any kind of organization, it's your team. It's not you. And if your team's better than you, that's even better. You could be the biggest idiot on the team. You're the originator. Okay, cool. You have an A team. You could be an F person. But your team will win. So developing a team is very important. They have a saying that an A player could run 15 laps over a C player. 15 laps more. So you got to hire the best. How do you do it with a limited budget? You got to teach the best. You got to really pick people. And I'm talking a little bit about football, and a lot of you guys are very young, but Jimmy Johnson was a coach. And the one thing he did better than anybody else, talent. He would pick talent. And what he said was, I will never have a dumb football player on my team. And the people said, why, Jimmy? They're all dumb. They're football players. He goes, no. He goes, because if they're dumb, I can't reason with them. If I could talk them into something, they could be on my team, and I could culturize them, align them. It's called alignment, culturization, alignment. We're all going the same way. We're not going over here. We're going here. Timing. What tide are you in? Timing is if the stock market's at 25,000, are you entering the game at 25,000, or you entered after the crash when it was 6,000? If retail and they're popping restaurants all over, do I want to enter that industry right now when it's 5 restaurants to every 10 people? No. So timing is a big thing. When I got in the chicken wing business that I didn't know nothing about, wings were 59 cents a pound. You know what they're at today? $2.50. So what happened to the cash flow and the margins? It's a different tide. So my timing was right on when I got in there in '94. And it was great that I sold it at 2014, 20 years. That's a lot of cooking chicken wings, people. And I didn't like cooking chicken wings, but I did it. Okay? So timing, simple life, happy life. Most people that are highly successful got 2 traits. Their business life is on fire. They're doing everything. You guys are like technology bunnies. You're on the phone and internet and texting and you're going. But if you have a very busy personal life, you can't do both. So the business life could be hectic as hell. The personal life got to be easy. You can't do both. Sam Walton, one of the greatest business people ever. Walmart, Sam's Club, same dinner, same haircut, same truck, very simple home life, very hectic business life. So if you don't keep it simple, you blow up. So remember that with your mate, whoever you marry, if you don't, your partner, whatever happens. If you want to be a business person, can't be both. You can, but you ain't gonna last. It's the yin and yang, the good and bad, the hot and cold. It's hard to do. So that's a simple life. On some areas, is a happy life. They say you can't take it all with you. So a lot of these people, these Warren Buffetts, These Bill Gates, they all have these foundations, and they're vowing that 95% of their wealth they're donating. Why? Because you can't take it with you. And if you give it to your kids, are you going to make them better? Are they going to go to Arizona like I did? Hell no. If my dad gave me a lot of stuff, I wouldn't have been in Arizona. I would have been in Clearwater Beach and getting some suntan. I wouldn't have went down that road. So most people would make it, especially in athletics, are hungry because they did without. So if you guys are doing without now, look at it as a blessing. Don't look at it as a curse, because that's what's going to drive you the rest of your life. When I had to eat chicken on Thanksgiving because we couldn't afford a turkey, that drove me to selling my business for over $50-something million. So that negative when I was a little kid of getting cut by basketball turned into a positive later in life if you use it. So guys, any questions you guys got? But that's my story. That's my principles. I envy you, but that schedule I've seen, I wouldn't want to do it. So I appreciate you guys doing that, and I know you want to do well. Believe in yourself, and don't take no for an answer, man. Go do it. So any questions?
We got time. We got time for one or two. Yeah.
What was the name of your chicken joint?
What was the name of the chicken joint? Called the WingHouse. It's locally here, and it was in Texas. So we started from 1 and went to 31. It was doing $62 million in top-line sales.
If you could go back to your early 20s, what's something you would do differently?
Great question.
What would I have done differently in my 20s? I believe in no regrets. I believe if you make a mistake's a learning tool. So I don't live in past. I wouldn't have done it any differently. I would have probably done what you guys done, learn more in school, because I had to learn later. And you guys are learning now. I picked it up later. But, you know, no regrets.
Got this table over here. Take the last question. Yeah. You guys can rock, paper, scissors for who's going to do it. You can go raise your hand at the same time.
Hello, my name is Vegard. I'm an exchange student from Norway, studying at University of Nebraska Omaha. My question is, when is the right time to sell a business, and why did you choose to sell? Thank you.
The right time to sell a business is when you're sick of it. Or you're not as happy with it anymore. So doing another one doesn't really inspire you. You need a new challenge. You want a change in your life. In the financial world, it's a multiple. So in the restaurant business, our multiple was 8. So it's 8 times earnings. If you get 8 times your earnings, it's a good deal. Sometimes tech businesses might have 30 times earnings, 50 times earnings. I mean, I believe business is for profit, or you're working on nonprofit. So if the game is money, you got to rationalize that yourself. Some people never sell. It was a business to me. It was a vehicle. That's all it is. Business is a vehicle to me. Go ahead. Oh, now that answer is hell no, because I had the best. That's number one. Number two, we used to make our own, and then a manufacturer used to make it for us and then sell it back to us. So in the beginning, we made it in-house, and then we took it to Naturally Fresh, who was my competitor, by the way, Hooters. And y'all didn't know that Hooters sued me in court. And then I won. That's another story, another time.
All right, thank you. Another round of applause for Crawford.
Thank you, guys.
So much.